Hello everybody, welcome back to our channel, and today we'll be doing the third chapter of the snapshot book Ranga's Marriage. It is written by Masti Venkatesha Iyengar. So, let's begin with the lesson. Ranga, the accountant's son, is one of the rare breed among the village folk who has been to the city to pursue his studies. When he returns to his village, from the city of Bangalore, the crowd mill around his house to see whether he has changed or not. His ideas about marriage are now quite different, or are they? So, this is a story about Ranga. He is accountant's son, and he is considered as one of the rare breed among the village folk who has been sent to the city to pursue his studies. So when he returns, all the villagers gather around him and to see whether he has changed or not. So, moving on, when you see this title, some of you may ask, Ranga's marriage? Why not Ranganatha Vivaha or Ranganatha Vijaya? Well, yes, I know I could have used some other mouth filling one like Jagannatha Vijaya or Girija Kalyana. But then this is not about Jagannatha's victory or Girija's wedding. It is about our own Ranga's marriage and hence no fancy title. Hoshiali is our village. You must have heard of it. No? What a pity. But it is not your fault. There is no mention of it in any geography book. Though Sahibs in England writing in English probably do not know that such a place exists. So make no mention of it. Our own people too forget about it. You know how it is. They are like flock of sheep. One sheep walks into a pit and the rest blindly follows it. When both sahibs in England and our own geographers have not referred to it, how can you not expect the poor cartographer to remember to put it in the map? Can you? And so there is not even the shadow of a village on any map. So, the first paragraph here, the author is telling us that has we ever heard the title? Have you ever heard the title Ranga's Marriage? And you must be wondering why the title is given as Ranga's Marriage and why not Ranganatha Vivaha or the other titles mentioned in the lesson. So, he was telling that he could have used some other mouth filling ones like Jagannatha Vijaya or Girija Kalyana, but then it's not about their victory or their wedding. It's about a guy named Ranga and his marriage. So hence no fancy title. So their village name is given as Hoshiali, and he's asking whether we have heard of it. No, what a pity. But it's not our fault also that we haven't heard the name of the village because they did not mention it in any geography book. And the sahibs also writing in English do not know that place exists. So make no mention of it. And their own people also forget about it. They are like flock of sheep. One sheep walks into a pit, then rest blindly follow it. And the sahibs in England and our own geographers have not referred to it, then how can we expect the poor cartographer to remember to put it on the map? Can you? So there is no mention of this village, even the shadow of it on any map. Sorry, I started somewhere and then went off in another direction. If the state of Mysore is to Bharat Varsha, what the sweet Karigadabu is to a festive meal, then Hoshiali is to Mysore state, what the filling is to the Karigadabu. What I have said is absolutely true. Believe me. I will not object to your questioning it, but I will stick to my opinion. I am not the only one who speaks glowingly of Hoshiali. We have a doctor in our place. His name is Gundabhatta. He agrees with me. He has been to quiet places. No, not England. If anyone asks him whether he has been there, he says, "No, Annaya, I have left that to you. Running around like a flea pestered dog is not for me. I have seen few places in my time, though, as a matter of fact, he has seen many." So, over here, the author is telling he has started somewhere and then he is going in another direction. So, if the state of Mysore is to Bharata Varsha, then what sweet of Karikadabu? The sweet mentioned here it is a South Indian fried sweet filled with coconut and sugar. So the sweet Karigadabu is to a festive meal. Then Hoshiali to Mysore state. What the filling is to Karigadabu? What I have said is absolutely true, believe me. I will not object to your questioning, but stick to opinion. My opinion. And he is not the only one who speaks glowingly of Hoshiali. And they have a doctor in their place. The doctor's name is Gunda Bhatta. And he also agrees with the author. So he has been to quite a lot of places, but not in England. And if anyone asks him why he hasn't been to England, he says, "No, Anaya, I've left that to you. Running around the flea pestered dog is not for me. I've seen places in my time, though as a matter of fact, he has seen many." So this would be his reply when anyone would ask him. Moving on to the next part. "We have some mango trees in our village. Come visit us, and I will give you a raw mango from one of them. Do not eat it, just take a bite. The soreness is sure to go straight to your Brahma Antra." Why? I once took one such fruit home, and a chutney was made out of it. All of us ate it. The cough we suffered from after that. It was when I went for the cough medicine that the doctor told me about the special quality of this fruit. Just as the mango is special, so is everything else around our village. We have a creeper growing in the ever so fine water of the village pond. Its flowers are a feast to behold. Get 2 leaves from the creeper when you go to the pond for your bath, and you will not have to worry about not having leaves on which to serve the afternoon meal. You will say I am rambling. It is always like that when the subject of a village comes up. But enough. If any one of you would like to visit us, drop me a line. I will let you know where Hoshiali is and what things are like here. The best way to getting to know a place is to visit it. Don't you agree? So he is telling they have a lot of mango trees in their village, and visit them, and they will give you raw mango. And they're telling, do not eat the mango, just take a bite. The soreness is to go straight to your Brahmarantra. So it is a soft part in the child's head where the skull bone join later. Here it is used as an idiomatic expression to convey the extreme potency of soreness. So he is telling he once took one such fruit from home, and a chutney was made of it. Everybody ate it, but they suffered from cough after that. And it was when he went for the cough medicine, the doctor told about the special quality of the fruit. And just as mango is special, everything around their village is special. So they have a creeper growing, and ever so fine water of the village pond. Its flowers are fest to behold. To get 2 leaves from its creeper, then you go to the pond for your bath, and you will not have to worry about not having leaves on which to serve the afternoon meal. You will say I'm rambling, but it is always like that when subject of the village comes up. But enough. If any one of you would like to visit us, drop me a line. I will let you know where Hoshiali is and what things are like there. Best way to get to know a place is to visit it. Don't you agree? What I am going to tell you is something that never happened 10 years ago. We did not have many people who knew English, and then our village accountant was the first one who had enough courage to send his son to Bangalore to study. It is different now. There are many who know English during the holidays. Do you across them? You come across them on every street talking in English. These days we did not speak in English, nor did we bring in English words while talking in Kannada. What has happened is disgraceful, believe me. The other day I was in Ramaravo's house when they brought a bundle of firewood. Ramaravo's son came out to pay for it. He asked the woman, "How much should I give you?" "4 pies," she said. The boy told her he did not have any change and asked her to come the next morning. The poor woman did not understand the English word change and then went away muttering to herself. I did not know too. Later, when I went to Ranga's house and asked him, I understood what it meant. So here they are telling something that happened 10 years ago, and they did not have many people who knew English. And the village, their village was the first village who had enough courage to send their son to study abroad. And it is also different now. There are so many people who know English. So during the holidays, when you come across them on every street talking in English, those days they did not speak in English. Nor did they bring any English words while talking in Kannada. So what has happened is disgraceful. And other day he was in Ramarava's house and they bought a bundle of firewood. When Ramarava's son came for paying it, he asked the woman, "How much should I give? How much was the pay? The price?" She replied 4 pies. And then the boy told her he did not have any change, and then asked her to come the next morning. But she did not understand the English word name changed. So went away muttering to herself, and the author also didn't know. Later, when he went to Ranga's house and asked him, then he understood what the word change meant. The priceless commodity, the English language, was not so widespread in our village a decade ago. That was why Ranga's homecoming was a great event. People rushed to his doorstep announcing, "The accountant's son has come. The boy who had gone to Bangalore for his studies is here, it seems. And come, Ranga is here. Let's go and have a look." Attracted by the crowd, I too went and stood in the courtyard and asked, "Why have all these people come? There is no performing monkey here." A fellow without any brains, said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Why, what are you doing here?" Then a youngster immature, without any manners, thinking that all these things were now of past, I kept quiet. So the priceless commodity, English language, was not so very known in the village decade ago. So that is the reason why Ranga's homecoming was a great event. And then people rushed to his doorstep announcing, "The accountant's son has come. The boy who had gone to Bangalore for his studies is here, it seems. And come, Ranga is here. Let's go and have a look." So as Ranga has arrived, everybody is rushing and excited to see him. How has he changed or not? And attracted by the crowd, the author also went and stood in the courtyard and asked, "Why all these people have come and there's no performing monkey here?" A fellow without any brains said loud, and everybody could hear. "So, what are you doing here then?" The youngster, immature without any manners, thinking that all these things were now past, I kept quiet. Seeing so many people here, Ranga came out with a smell. I am sorry. Ranga came out with a smile on his face. Had we all gone inside, the place would have turned into what people call the black hole of Calcutta. Thank God it did not. Everyone was surprised to see that Ranga was the same as he had been 6 months ago. When he had first left our village, the old lady who was near him ran her hand over his chest, looked into his eyes, and said, "The Janevara The Janevara is still there. He hasn't lost his caste. She went away soon after that, Ranga laughed. Once they realized that Ranga still had the same hands, legs, eyes, and nose, the crowd melted away like a lump of sugar in a child's mouth. I continued to stand there after everyone had gone. How are you, Rangappa? Is everything well with you? It was only then that Ranga noticed me. He came near me and did a namaskara, respectfully saying, I am all right with your blessing. I must draw your attention to this aspect of Ranga's character. He knew when it would be to his advantage to talk someone and rightly assessed people's worth. As for his namaskara to me, he did not do it like any other present day boy, with his head up towards the sun, standing stiff like a pole without joints, jerking his body as if it was either a hand or a walking stick. Nor did he merely fold his hands. He bent low to touch my feet. May God, may you get married soon, I said, blessing him. After exchanging a few pleasantries, I left. So, after seeing so many people there, Ranga came out with a smile on his face, and then we had all gone. Had we all gone inside, then the place would have turned out like what people call the Black Hole of Calcutta. But it did not happen like that. And everyone to surprise, Ranga was the same as he had been 6 months ago, and he had first left a village. When he had first left a village, he was the same, and an old lady near him ran her hands over his chest and looked into eyes and said, the Janevara is still there. He hasn't lost his caste. And then she went away soon after, and Ranga laughed. And once everyone realized that he was the same as before leaving the village, and he had the same arms, legs, hands, eyes, nose, the crowd melted away like a lump of sugar in a child's mouth. So he continued to stand there, and after everyone had gone, he asked, how are you, Rangappa? Is everything well with you? It was only then Ranga noticed the author. He came near me and did a namaskara respectfully. So I am all right, he replied, with your blessings. I must draw your attention to the aspect of Ranga's character. He knew when it would be to his advantage to talk to someone rightly assess people's worth. As for Namaskara to me, he did not do it like any other present day boy. He did the Namaskara with his head up towards the sun and standing stiff like a pole with joints jerking his body as if it was neither a wand or a walking stick. Nor did he merely fold his hands. He bent low to touch my feet. May you get married soon, the author said, blessing him and exchanging a few pleasantries. That afternoon, when I was resting, Ranga came to my house with a couple of oranges in his hand. A generous, considerate fellow, it would have been fine thing to have him marry, settle down, and be a service to the society, I thought. For a while we talked about this and that, and then I came to the point. Rangappa, when are you planning to get married? I'm not going to get married now, he said. Why not? I needed to find a girl, right? I know an officer who got married only 6 months ago. He is about 30 and his wife is 25, I am told. They will not be able to talk lovingly to each other. Let's say I marry a very young girl. She may take my words spoken in love as words spoken in anger. Recently, a troupe in Bangalore staged the play Shakuntala. There is no question of Dushyanta falling in love with Shakuntala if she were young, like the present day brides, is there? What would have happened if Kalidas play? If one gets married, it should be to a girl who is mature. Otherwise, one should remain a bachelor. That's why I'm not marrying now. Is there any other reason? A man should marry a girl he admires. What we have now are arranged marriages. How can one admire a girl with milk stains on one side of her face and wetness on the other side, or so young that she doesn't even know how to bite her fingers? One a neem fruit, the other a bitter gourd? Exactly, Ranga said, laughing. I was distressed that the boy who I thought I would make I thought would make a good husband had decided to remain bachelor. After chatting for a long, Ranga left. I made up my mind right then I would get him married. So that afternoon, when he was resting, Ranga came to the house and he had a couple of oranges in his hand. And then, generous, considerate fellow, it would be one fine thing to have him marry and settle down and be a service to the society. For a while, they talked about this and that, and then the author came to the point and he asked when was Ranga planning to get married. So he replied he's not planning to get married, and the author asked why not. Ranga was saying he needed to find the right girl, and he knew an officer who married only 6 months ago, and he's about 30 and his wife is 25. I am told they will not be able to talk lovingly to each other. Let's say I marry a very young girl, and she take my words spoken in love as words spoken in anger. Recently, a troupe in Bangalore staged the play Shakuntala. There is no question of Dushyanta falling in love with Shakuntala. If she were young, like the present day brides is there, what would have happened to Kalidas' play? If one get married, it should be to a girl who is mature, otherwise, one should remain a bachelor. That's why I'm not marrying now. So he said one reason why he's not marrying, and then the author asked, is there any other reason that you're not planning to get married? So, a man should marry the girl he admires. Ranga replies, and what we have now are arranged marriages. How can one admire a girl with milk stains on one of us face and wetness on the other, or so young that she doesn't even know how to bite her fingers? Exactly, Ranga said, laughing. Sorry, one named fruit, the other a bitter god. Exactly, Ranga said, laughing. And he was distressed that the boy who had thought would make a good husband decided to remain bachelor. After chatting, after chatting for a longer, Ranga left, and he made up his mind then that he would get him married. Ram Ravo's niece, a pretty young girl of 11, had come to stay with him. She was from a big town, so she knew how to play veena and the harmonium, and she had also a sweet voice. But her parents had died, and her uncle had brought her home. Ranga was just the boy for her, and she the most suitable bride for him. Since I was a frequent visitor to Ramaravo's place, the girl was quite free with me. I completely forgot to mention her name, Ratna. It was. The very next morning I went to their house and told Ramaravo's wife, I'll send some buttermilk for you. Ask Ratna to fetch it. Ratna came, it was a Friday, so she was wearing a grand sari. I told her to sit in my room and requested her to sing a song. I sent for Ranga. While she was singing the song Krishnamurti in front of my eyes, Ranga reached the door and he stopped at the threshold. He did not want the singing to stop, but he was curious to know the singer. Carefully he peeped in. The light coming into the room was blocked. Ratna looked up to see the stranger abruptly stopped. Suppose you buy the best quality mango, you eat it slowly, savoring its peel before biting it to the juicy flesh. You do not want to waste any part of it. Before you take another bite, the fruit slips away out of your hand and falls into the ground. How do you feel? Ranga's face showed the same disappointment when the singing stopped. You sent for me? He asked as he came in and sat on a chair. Ratna stood at a distance, her head lowered. Ranga repeatedly glanced at her. Once our eyes met, and he looked very embarrassed. No one spoke for a while. It was my coming that stopped the singing. Let me leave. The words, mere words. The fellow said that he would leave but did not make a move. How can one expect words to match actions in these days of Kalinga? Ratna ran inside, overcome by shyness. After a while, Ranga asked, who is that girl, Swami? Who's that inside? The lion wanted to know. The he goat who had taken shelter in the temple replied, does it matter who I am? I am a poor animal who has already eaten 9 lions. I have vowed to eat one more. Tell me, are you male or female? The lion fled the place in fear, it seems. Like he goat, I said. Why does it matter either of us who is he? I am already married and you are in marrying kind. So Ratna came and it was a Friday and she was wearing a grand sari and he told her to sit in the room and requested her to sing a song, and then he asked for Ranga to come. So when she was singing her song Krishnamurti in front of my eyes, Ranga reached the door and he stopped at the threshold, and he did not want the singing to stop, but he was curious to see the singer, and he carefully peeped in, and light was coming in the room. The light was blocked. So Ratna looked at the stranger abruptly and then stopped. So now the author is comparing Ranga's expression with the mango, the quality of a mango. And if you get a mango, you eat it slowly, savoring its peel before biting the juicy flesh, and you don't want to waste any part of it. Before you take another bite, the fruit slips out of his hand and falls into the ground. How do you feel? Ranga's face showed the same disappointment when the singing stopped. So, Janga was disappointed when the singing had stopped. And you sent for me? You sent for me, Janga asked as he came in and sat on the chair. Ratna stood at a distance and her head lowered. Ratna repeatedly glanced at her, and then, once their eyes met, he looked very embarrassed and no one spoke for a while. It was my coming that stopped his singing. Let me leave. He said that when he was embarrassed, he said that it was his coming that stopped the singing, so let him leave. So, words mere words. Words mere words. The fellow said that he would leave, but he did not make any move. He was saying he would leave, but he didn't make any move. And how can one expect words to match actions in these days of Kalinga? Ratna ran inside, overcome by shyness. After a while, Ranga asked, "Who is that girl, Swami? Who is that inside?" The lion wanted to know. The he-goat, who had taken shelter in the temple, replied, "Does it matter who I am? I am a poor animal who has already eaten 9 lions. I have vowed to eat one more. One more. Tell me, are you male or female?" The lion fled the place in fear. Like the he-goat, I said, what does it matter to you, either of us, who she is? I am already married, and you are in the marrying kind. Very hopefully he asked, "She isn't married then?" His voice did not betray his excitement, but I knew it was there. "She was married a year ago." His face shriveled like a roasted brinjal. After a while, Ranga left, saying, "I must go, I have work at home." Then the author asked, Ranga asked the author that who is she, and isn't she married? So he asked in an excited tone. So he said she was married a year ago, and so his face shriveled like roasted brinjal. So after a while he left, saying, "I must go, I have work at home." So then, moving on, I went to our Shastri the next morning and told him, "Keep everything ready to read the stars. I'll come later." I tutored him in all that I wanted him to say. I found no change in Ranga when I met him that afternoon. "What's the matter? You seem to be lost in thought." I said, Nothing wrong. Believe me. Headache? Come on, let's go and see a doctor." So they went to Shastri the next morning and told him that to keep everything ready to read the stars. I'll come later. And he tutored him in all the way he wanted him to say. He asked Shastri and trained him to say the words just what he wanted Ranga to hear. So he found no change in Ranga when he met him that afternoon. And he asked, "What's the matter?" And he seemed to be lost in thought, he said. So he asked again, "What's the matter?" So Ranga replied, Nothing wrong, believe me." So he asked, "A headache? Come, let's see a doctor." "I have no headache. I am usual self. I went through the same thing when the process of choosing a girl was for me was going on. But I did not think that it could be a reason for your present condition." Ranga stared at me. "Come, let's go see Shastri," I suggested. "We'll find out whether Guru and Shani are favorable for you or not." Ranga accompanied with me without any protest. As soon as Shastri saw me, he exclaimed, What a surprise, Shyama. Haven't seen you for a long time. Shyama is none other than your servant, the narrator of this tale. I got angry and shouted, "What? Only this morning?" Shastri completed my sentence. "You finished all your work and are here now free to visit me? Had you not done so, I would have ruined our plan by bursting like grain that are kept in the sun to dry." I was extremely careful of what I said afterward. Shastri turned to Ranga. "When did the young son of our accountant clerk come home? What can I do for him? It's very rare that he visits us. Take out your paraphernalia." Our Rangappa seemed to have something on his mind. "Can you tell us what's worrying him? Shall we put your science of astrology to the test?" There was authority in his voice when he spoke to Shastri. He took out 2 sheets of paper and some cowries and a book of palmyra leaves, saying, "Ours is an ancient science, Ayya. There is a story to it, but I won't tell you the story now. This is not Harikatha, which will allow you to tell a story within a story. You make it bold. I'll tell it to you some other time." Shastri moved his lips as fast as he counted his fingers and then asked, "What's your star?" Ranga did know. "Never mind." Shastri indicated with a shake of his head. He did some more calculation before saying in a serious tone, "It's about a girl." I had been controlling my laughter all this while, but now I burst out laughing. I turned to Ranga. "Exactly what I had said. Who is this girl?" It was your humble servant who had asked the question. Shastri thought for a while, replying, "She's probably having the name of something found in the ocean. Kamala? Maybe." So, as he says that he is acting weirdly, and author feels he's acting differently, and he asks to see the doctor. So he says nothing. He doesn't have headache and all, and then the author says that he went to the same thing when he was choosing a girl. So he was saying, "Let's go and see a Shastri." So we will find out whether Guru and Shani are favorable for you. Without any protest, Ranga accompanied. As soon as Shastri saw me, he exclaimed, "What a surprise, Shyama! I haven't seen you for a long time." "Shyama is none other than your servant, the narrator of this tale." I got angry and shouted, "What? Only this morning?" Shastri completed my sentence. "You finished all your work and are now free to visit me. Had you not done so, I would have ruined our plan by bursting like grains that are kept in the sun to dry." And he was extremely careful of what he wanted to say afterwards. Shastri then turned to Ranga and he asked, "When did the young son of the accountant come home to visit? What can I do for him? And it is very rare that he visits us." And he says, "Rangappa seemed to have something on his mind, and can you tell what is worrying him? And shall we put our science of astrology to test?" And then there was authority in his voice as he spoke to Shastri. He took out sheets of paper and then some cowries also, and then a book of palmyra leaves, and said, ours is ancient science, Ayya, and the stories to it." So he won't tell the story now because it is not a harikatha which will allow you to tell the story within a story, and he may get bored. So he said he will tell it some other time. Shastri then moved his lips fast as he counted the fingers and then asked, "What's your star?" Ranga did know. "Never mind." Shastri indicated with a shake on his head. He did some more calculation before saying serious tone, "It's about a girl." So, as like an astrologer, this would find or do things when he's saying astrology, or similarly, Shastri was also moving his lips fast and he counted mm, and his fingers and then asked, "What's star of Ranga?" So he said he didn't know, and he did some more calculation, and then he seriously said in a serious tone that it's about a girl. "So who is this girl in your mind?" The humble servant who asked the question. Shastri thought for a while and said, "She probably has the name of something found in the ocean. Kamala, maybe?" "Kamala, maybe. Could it be Chichi, moss. Must be some mosses if not Kamala. Why not Pearl or Ratna, the precious stone? Ratna? The girl in Ramrava's house? Is Ratna. Tell me, is there any chance of a negotiation bearing fruit? Definitely, he said after thinking for some time. There was surprise on Ranga's face and some happiness I noticed. But that girl is married, I said. Then turned to him, his face had fallen. I didn't know all that. Maybe some other girl who is suitable. I only told you what our Shastra indicated, Shastri said. We left the place. On the way we passed by Ramrava's house. Ratna was standing at the door. I went in alone and came out a minute later. Surprisingly, the girl isn't married. It seems someone told me other day that she was. What Shastri told us turned out to be true after all. But Rangappa, I can't believe that you have been thinking of her. Swear on the name of Madhavacharya and tell me, is it true that Shastri said? What Shastri said? I do not know whether anyone else would have been direct. Ranga admitted, there is greater truth in Shastra than we imagine. What he said is absolutely true. Shastri was at the well when I went that evening. I said, so, Shastri Kale, you repeated everything I had taught you without giving rise to any suspicion. What marvelous Shastra yours is. He didn't like it at all. What are you saying? What you said to me was what I could have found out myself from the Shastras. Don't forget, I developed on the hints that you had given me. Tell me, is that what a decent man says? Ranga had come other day to invite me to dinner. What's the occasion? I asked. It's Shyama's birthday. He's 3. It's not a nice name, Shyama, I said. I'm like dark piece of oil cake. Why did you have to give that golden child of yours such a name? What a childless couple you are, Ratna and you. I know. It is the English custom of naming the child after someone you like. Your wife is 8 months pregnant now. Who is there to help your mother to cook? My sister has come with her. I went out there for dinner. Shama rushed to see me when I walked in, and I pulled arms around my legs. I kissed him on his cheeks and he placed a ring on his tiny finger. Allow me to take leave of you, Render. I am always here, ready to serve you. You are not bored, I hope. So, this story, and then it says, after meeting with the Shastri, and Rangappa had come other day to invite the author for dinner, and he asked, "What's the occasion?" So he says, "It's Shyama's birthday," and then Shyama is Ratna and Ranga's child. So Ranga's marriage is an interesting story, and it is like how a person manipulates to get the young boy married to an 11-year-old girl in the village. The story dates back to the early days of British rule when English was used in such a big way. So, Rangappa, the son of a village accountant, is sent to Bangalore to study. His homecoming after 6 months make a big event. The curious villagers gathered outside Ranga's house to see how much the boy had changed. The narrator discusses the issue of marriage with Ranga, and then he is surprised to hear the ideas about marriage. He resolves to get the boy married to a very young and immature 11-year-old girl, Ratna. He seeks the support of Shastri's astrology to bring Ratna around, and Ranga forgets his idealism and settles down happily. The story depicts the life of Indian villages in the past when child marriage was a common practice. So, this is the detailed summary of the lesson Ranga's marriage, and I have provided the detailed summary along with the lesson, and you are free to go through them. Then there is vocabulary and some important question answers which is frequently asked. So these are some of the important questions and vocabulary and detailed summary of the lesson Ranga's marriage. Thank you for watching. Feel free to share, like and comment down the video, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section.